Hi and welcome. This is Iris Benrubi, your host. I am thrilled to have you on because I'm really excited to have Cheryl Burget. Welcome, Cheryl.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be on with you today.
Well, I want to start with a quote from your website. It says, yeah, you didn't even know I was going to do this. Whether or not you know it, you are always selling an idea, a point of view, or yourself. This makes sales the driver of any and every business, nonprofit, and relationship. It's time to learn to embrace sales from a different perspective. So, yeah, let's touch on that. What does that actually mean?
So, whether we're aware of it or not, so many people have a kind of bad taste in their mouth about sales. And what people don't realize is that we are constantly selling an idea. For instance, a restaurant or a movie, well, not today, but a restaurant or a movie or an idea, right? A belief. Constantly. And we are also in relationship trying to find like-minded people, right? And so we are constantly asking those questions that go deeper to getting to understand someone. I think, as we enter into relationships, questions should actually be a part of it, not the interrogation part, but actually finding more about someone, being genuine. I call it genuine curiosity. So that's kind of what I think. In every moment, we are selling ourselves, our ideas. In an interview, you think about it. In an interview, we're selling ourselves. On a first date, we're selling ourselves. And a second, and a third, and a fourth.
Yeah. So as much as I don't really want to spend the whole time on this, let's focus on this for people who would just get their nose out of joint to say, "What do you mean I'm selling myself in relationship?" Could you speak to that?
Yeah, I don't want anybody's nose out of joint. So I think we are always putting our best foot forward, right? Especially if we're attracted to someone or like someone. I think, and you can speak to this a lot better than I can, but those neurons and things start to fire, and we are on our, let's call it our best behavior. And I think that subconsciously we're trying to look our best. We're trying to, breeze over things that they may do, or things that, right? And then all of a sudden you're three and you're like, oh, I noticed that on our second date, and it was lovely and cute at the beginning. Now it drives me freaking crazy, right? So I think we are putting our best foot forward. So I consider that to be selling ourselves, right? To exchange and to make ourselves look good.
All right, so let's move this into business now. So I know that you have an acronym for sales. Could you share that with us?
Absolutely. So can I share with you a little bit about how it came to be also?
Sure.
I was working with a company, and I was kind of the one who was leading the sales team, leading the sales in the company. And there was a disagreement about how we should approach sales. Let's not call it sales. Let's call it an offer or an invitation. So I kind of felt like that it wasn't completely transparent, authentic in my level of what I wanted to be represented by. So I was sitting on a call with them all of them one day, and all of a sudden this acronym just like dropped into my head. Sales meaning serving anyone lovingly, effectively, and successfully. And I thought, that's it. That's what I do. And so I kind of built my philosophy and started paying attention to what I did that made things easy for me to make sales. And why was it difficult for others? So I started studying human behavior, and that really landed with me as, I would say, more than a mission, or part of a mission statement of what I wanted to share with people and help change the way they thought about sales.
All right, so I'd like to talk about strategies, but before we go there, why do people struggle so much with that word?
Sales.
Yeah.
I think people feel that people in the past have been pushy, okay? And how I define that is they don't care about what you want. All they care about is making the sale, okay? There are people who that's all they care about, making the numbers, making the numbers, making the numbers. I will not sell to someone, I do not feel like that it will benefit, it will help. So there's a huge difference. I can't sell something I don't believe in that will absolutely be the right decision. I was in a very high paying financial job, and I remember my national sales manager saying, well, you need to have them buy this on this day. And I knew it wasn't right for the client. And after getting my, hiney chewed, I just went, you know what? This is what makes me different. This is what sales should be. So people have had a bad experience of been sold to. What I want to help people understand is that at the end of the day, it's their own yes or no, right? They make the decision at the end of the day. And whether you feel pressured by the words I use or something like that, I always say, I'm not saying you need to hire me, but I definitely see this as a solution to your problem. And so people don't like that feeling of being pushed into something. And the reality is, I can't really push you into anything. I help people to understand they have their own yes and no. And I said, they didn't force you. Even if they had a gun to your head, you still had a choice.
May not like the other choice, but you have a choice.
Right? You have a consequence, right, of saying no. But people a lot of times think they have been forced into something. And I help them to say, no, at the end of the day, you made the decision, and help them to own that.
So what, to me, it requires, especially people who've had a negative experience or just a negative definition of sales, this requires a bit of pivoting.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
What are they pivoting to? Let's get clear on that.
All right. You ask great questions, by the way. Pivoting to embracing sales, realizing that in business, that is the foundation of everything. If sales aren't happening, nothing is happening, and you don't have a business. So it is absolutely the foundation of everything that you do is based on somebody being sold to. One of the things is that as we pivot, it is to embrace sales that you're solving a problem, right? You're solving someone's problem. They have an issue. And, I give a dramatic example of you have a child that's sick, and the salesperson who sold the hospital administrator a very expensive piece of equipment. It took him 30 times to reach the hospital administrator and finally let him come in and make a presentation. And they had just got it in. And you find out your child is sick. And the only technology that could help diagnose your child is this piece of equipment. Sales then becomes a friend because someone gave you a solution to something that you needed in that very moment. And ideally, you'd like everyone to sell that way. Doesn't happen. But then turning it around to empower them to their own yes and no, empowering it to their own yes and no.
And what have you found? I mean, I forgot to say that your website is Your Sales Genius and you're a sales coach. So as you've coached people, and I've worked with you personally, as you work with people to help them pivot their perspective of sales as a way to provide the solution to a problem, the place I'm coming from, because there are people out there with quotas. There are people that are very dependent on the number of sales they make to be able to put food on the table, a roof over their head. So what have you noticed as you've helped people pivot to this new way of looking at sales? What have you noticed in their sales career? What's happened?
Well, I'm going to give you an example of two clients that I worked with. One, she's adorable, creative, a branding specialist, and she is also an incredible storyteller. And her company is The Boot Factor. And what she does is she helps people bring out the story of them to really reflect their own brand. And when I first started working with her, she said, God, just, these sales, she had no process. She had gotten referrals from when she was in corporate, and then that started to dry up, and she was kind of in a little bit of trouble. And now my favorite is she came to me probably after working together for about 4 months and said, oh my gosh, now I just love to sell, and I don't even want to I like that more than doing the work. And so it is really diving into helping solve someone's problem, and really taking the focus off of yourself, right? Asking, sometimes I have conversations with people, and they're doing really well. They need a tip, right? Not typical. The people who have quotas, I don't have a problem with that. Here's what I think. A guy comes to my door, you see those non-soliciting signs. I don't have one. Comes to my door Saturday afternoon. He's got this little thing. He's making money for school. He sprays this cleaner on my door jamb. He wipes it up, and I was like, wow, that looks good. Can I get 2 bottles of those? That? Now, it took me 3 minutes, and here's what happened. After using both bottles, I was like, dang, I wish he'd come back, because I would really like to buy some more of it. Good quality product. You know what? And I thought to myself, here he is trying to make some money rather than sitting on the street corner or going in and stealing from people. He's trying to earn a living. So the least I can do is respect what he's doing.
Can I add one thing that pops up for me?
Of course.
He solved a problem for you you didn't even know you had.
There you go. Absolutely. And to be honest with you, the reason I encourage my clients not to sit and let the waves come in, because they don't. We got to get out there and surf the wave, right? We have to reach out to people. They don't know the problem they have, right? We as business owners don't know the problem we have because we've got our blinders on. We're paying attention to what everyone else is doing, thinking that's the right thing we should do in our business. And the reality is that we need someone to come in and I always say, if you don't put sales at the front of your business instead of the back of your business, you're going to go out of business. So it's something I feel, even if it's messy, even if you don't do it well, you have to master that skill.
All right. And you were going to share a second client with us?
Oh, yes. Thank you for reminding me. So another client of mine, really a regular, again, had gotten some referrals walking out of corporate, but had no system to actually to find leads, to follow up with leads. One of the biggest things I see is the lack of follow-up. Oh my goodness. People follow up 1, maybe 2 times. Because people don't like to be rejected. Nope, it's your job. It's your job. It's your job to follow up. And I say I will follow up with someone because I've had clients hire me after 2.5 years, right? That I didn't methodically call them and say, hey, I'm following up. That is a disaster. Call them with some value. Hey, I noticed that these things are happening in your industry. I know, are you taking advantage of that? Hey, I noticed these things have shifted. Call with some value. So one of my clients said to me, "You mean if they don't say no, if they don't say yes the first time, I have to call them back?" What I taught her was to say, "Is that no today or no forever?" Right? Is that no today or no forever? Because sometimes, somebody can be in a bad space, right? Somebody can't, and they don't want to share that with you. Your job is to find out why they don't want to work with you, or if you know that you can solve the problem, why are they not jumping on that chance? And it could be fear. That's one of my favorites, because don't let fear run your business. Do not let fear make decisions for you. I mean, it's just not a good business decision, right?
And that's a tough one because a lot of people do have fear.
Yeah. You probably, with your background, don't want to know what I have to say about that.
Go for it.
I was kind of like, okay, you can be afraid, and you can stay stuck. Or all business takes a certain amount of calculated risk. Now, I'm not saying, jump off the 12th story. I'm saying take some calculated risk. You do this investment, and the worst thing that can happen is what? You don't make any money. Great. Okay. Now, I can promise you that if you do what I tell you, you will make money. Right, Iris? And I'm bossy.
Yes, you are.
I am. because I want your success. I really have had to battle that line of wanting more success for you than you want for yourself. So I have, not for you personally, because you followed what I told you, did what I told you. And so helping people to just follow the rules, follow the suggestions, show up. You know, I had somebody say to me, well, I showed up to all the calls. I said, yeah, but you took zero action. Mm. You know, she was unhappy. But when it's really simple. It sounds simple, but it's hard because we get in our own way. We're afraid to follow up because we don't know what to say, right? We don't know what to say. After I meet someone and I try to ask them an engaging question about what I do. So I'll say something like, hey, are you looking to grow your business and do you want more clients? People say yes. So when I call them to follow up, I said, so the last time we spoke, you mentioned that you would like more clients. How would you like to jump on a call with me and I can do an assessment of where you are and maybe give you some suggestions and tips about how that could move you forward? Right? I mean, it's simple, and people still deal with their own personal demons. The more you can get, this is a quotable, this is write it downable. If there's anybody on this line, you should write this down. If you can get your feelings, you're laughing at me, if you can get your feelings out of your business and put your CEO hat on, you'll have a much more successful business than allowing your feelings to run your business.
Yeah, and my experience also is the more you practice something that you're afraid of, the more success you have, the more evidence you have that, oh, I can do this. It's out of my comfort zone at the beginning, but then your comfort zone expands and you're able to integrate a whole lot more tools than just the cold calling, which is probably the hardest.
Oh yeah. People will hire me and say, oh, but I'm not cold calling. And I said, well, I won't ask you to. Because I help them get leads other ways than just picking up. I mean, my very first job at 16 was a Yellow Pages in a boiler room with people twice my age or 3 times my age. And I loved it because I was helping children for the Oklahoma Prevention of Child Abuse to be able to go to a day at our Whitewater Park. Now, I could sell that all day long. And in fact, at 16, back in the late 70s, you know, there was times I'd make $200 a week. I mean, that was like, woohoo, right? I was on my way to a new car. So, you know, because I believed in it and I wasn't afraid. I mean, the other person on the phone, they're either going to be, you know, I just got immune to stop caring about what the person on the, I don't know them. The person on the other side of the phone. We as a society care so much what others think of us. We really do, and we are obsessed with it. And the problem is that is a ton of wasted energy that really robs us of our true joy if we're always worried about what someone else is going to think of us, right? Yeah, with my bold personality, there are times I piss people off. And I go, well, you know, I'm not losing sleep over it. You know, not everyone's going to like you.
Yeah, and you own it because you know that you have a solution to a problem.
Absolutely, Iris. It's taken a while, I have to admit, to get to the place where I absolutely know. I have proof. I have proof that my clients have, you know, crossed the $100,000 mark. The 200. I've got one that's going to pass 200. 2 that are going to pass $200,000 this year. I know that it works, and so that's the confidence I have. And so for people who, you know, are naysayers, what I know is that 1, they're in denial, and 2, they're lying to themselves about what really works. And at the end of the day, they're the loser, right? Unfortunately. So I have a mantra that came to me one time, 3 different ways in a period of about 48 hours. And it was simply, I hear it all the time now, it's choose faith over fear. So I just choose faith over fear. And so what I taught myself to do is every time I felt that fear, which is really about something that's not yet happened, I just, as soon as I feel the feeling of fear in my body, I go, nope, choose faith. Faith, I don't know what's going to happen. So why do I want to spend that precious energy that I have worrying about something that could happen in the future?
And might not happen in the future.
9 times out of 10, it doesn't happen, right? I never worry till I'm right there having to do CPR, or right in the moment of, things coming across. My mother was God bless her, was worried a lot. And so I think that seeing all of that worry of things that never happened, to me, just didn't make a lot of sense. We got all upset for nothing, So I am a lot happier when I can live by the principles I spout.
All right, so I want to get into some real strategies that people can use right now. Like we're in isolation. Most of the world's in isolation. Some are coming out, but we've really changed how we do business for now, at least. We don't know what the new normal is going to be like. And some businesses are lucky, like Zoom, that's thriving. And some businesses are really struggling to either maintain what they have, to create new businesses. What would you suggest as some strategies they can use right now to either plant seeds or to generate sales?
Great. So I've got a couple that I want to share with you. First of all, sales are happening. It doesn't mean that people are tone deaf. It means that people are offering solutions to problems people still have. In my industry, I have an accountability partner, and we challenge each other every month. And between April 1st and May 5th, she contracted $70,000 in new business. Now, providing a lot of great content, a lot of free content, a lot of conversations with people, and people said, I need to know how to do that, right? She did it for 4 weeks before ever saying, hey, have a call with me. But because she had shown and proven so much value for them and got them into action, the thing that people need to know is, number one, continue to take action. It looks a little different, and let me tell you how it looks different. You have to be empathetic around the situations that are happening. So you can't lead the way that we did before. I never would have suggested somebody say in a sales conversation, how are you? Because you can go down the rabbit hole. So you still have to maintain the control and the structure of the conversation, but really saying, how are you doing? What have you found is the biggest challenge for you right now? And seeing if you can help. Right. And asking permission, hey, would it be okay if I gave you some suggestions right now? Sometimes people are really low. They're bringing in zero assets. And my job is to say, do you want to bring in some assets right now? Do you want to bring in some cash flow? And they're like, yeah, will you do anything, whatever it takes to do that? And they usually go, well, within reason, as long as it's legal. Of course. So helping them to connect with the people that you weren't able to get in touch with before. Call with a genuine sincerity. So, my number one tool is this. The phone. Obviously, people are trying to get hold of me. The phone. And it is still the most powerful tool, right? A lot of people hide behind email, going to send an email first. Nope. All those contacts and leads that you've had before. If you need leads, so the first thing is take action, reach out to the people. Those of you who have clients that you want to hang on to, you must be calling them. A blanket email, if you have 30,000 customers, that's one thing. But if you have 250 customers, you better get on that phone and start calling them. You better start calling them. And personally saying, how are you doing during this? I want you to know we have online classes or whatever it is. We anticipate we're going to be opening hopefully by the end of May. But we're all waiting to see, is there anything I can do for you in the meantime? Right? Really be genuine with people. This is the time to be very personal. Yeah, we're really running out of food. Do you know where there's a food bank? Sure, let me look that up for you, right? Now you're a gym owner. right? But you're going to help your clients in this time. So we are asked to expand what we do and really be there for them. So the very first thing is stay in touch with your clients. Call the people that you didn't get on the phone before. I'm calling every lead that I've had for the last 4 years. Every lead that I've had. Hey, how are you doing? And just checking in. Hey, would you like to set up a call? And the third thing is to be flexible in the way that you offer your services, right? So before I only offered a 12-month program. And so now I've offered a 6-month. I've broken the payments down a little bit more for people to make it a little bit easier for them. And if they, and absolutely, some people have money, they're getting money. It's not what they want, but they need a shift. And you can't, and what's going to happen is if you don't take action, you're going to probably end up with no business, to be honest with you. The other thing is, so I'm on number 4. Number 4 is to seek out all the virtual events. Now, let me tell you a little secret on virtual events. Many networking groups have pivoted to virtual. Yeah. Lots of speaking opportunities, and everybody's on Zoom, so you can see everyone's name, right? As they are. So take a screenshot. Take a screenshot of the chat. Reach out to those people. Just send them a quick chat note saying, hey, I'd love to connect. I made an appointment the other day from something someone said. Right? Write down what they said so you don't forget. But on a Zoom call, you can see and go to many more than you could before because you're not driving, right? Or you're not traveling to them. So I would say to anybody who reaches out, I'm happy to send them. I just put together, and I'll send it to you, Iris. It's a networking. It's kind of how to network, but it's also a list of a ton of networking events, both national and I did it local for my group in Denver. But happy to send that out to anyone because there's a difference between networking and strategic networking, right? Networking is hanging out with people and listen to what they say, which does not build a business. Strategic networking is making a commitment to look for 3 to 5 people you want to connect with in every single meeting. If you attend 3 meetings and you get 5 contacts from each meeting, that is 15 new leads, potential leads that you have by the end of the week. If you do that 4 times a month, you have 45 new leads. Don't tell me you can't find leads. So those are some strategic things I think. Have a routine. Even those of us who work at home, I'm finding it's different. It's different. I've worked at home since 2001. And so for almost 20 years. And it's different right now, right? People's energy is different. And you have to be willing to hear that, be empathetic, not sympathetic, but empathetic to that.
All right, Cheryl, for people who want to be able to contact you, where can they find you?
They can go to my website, www.yoursalesgenius.com. And there's a place to say, to set up like a 30-minute consult with me. I'm happy to do that, particularly in these times where people are really struggling and need some, I call it, they need a shift. They need a catalyst to move them from where they are. And, a catalyst can be daily. I can tell you, sometimes it's hard to get out of bed. And everyone is suffering from that. I'm saying everybody has their moment of thinking, oh my gosh, and the struggle. So yeah, they can come find me there.
Beautiful. And if there was one thing you would hope our viewers take away from the call today, what would that be?
Push past the fear, put sales at the front of your business so that you can continue to bring in revenue, so that you can support yourself and your family and do the things you want to do in your life by having your own business. That's what I would say.
And with that, I want to say thank you for the time that you've given us, for everything that you've shared today, and for the difference you make in the world.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks for having me on. It was a pleasure. And you're great at interviewing, by the way. I just want to say that. Just a little pump. Yes.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.